Hello, my name is Thomas Mergel, and thank you for watching the top 5 NILE albums, in my opinion. I mean, I have their entire discography. I've seen them live multiple times. They are one of my favorite bands, and these are my, just 5 favorite albums of mine, and I think these are the best. So here we go with number 5, that being Those Whom the Gods Detest. Came out in 2009, Nuclear Blast Records, and this is one of those albums I pretty much introduced to my wife, and we listened to it for a good year and got her hooked. I loved it, starting with Kafir, it's playing in the background now. Hittite Incantation, which is awesome live. Utterances of the Crawling Dead, Those Whom the Gods Detest. Fourth Aura of Dagon, which is also one of our favorite songs, and saw that live a couple years ago, and it was an amazing song, permitting the noble dead to descend to the underworld. And let's see, another one of mine, a favorite one of mine, Iskander Dul Karnan. There's a lot of good songs on here. I really like the mix on this. The songwriting is intense, and yeah, that's my number 5. Alright, here we are with number 4 on this list, that being What Should Not Be Unearthed. This album came out last year, 2015, and it is the number 4 on the list. Songs like Call to Destruction, Negating the Abominable Coils of a Pep, let's see, In the Name of a Moon, What Should Not Be Unearthed, Evil to Cast Out Evil, which is playing in the background right now, The Age of Famine, Rape of the Black Earth, and To Walk Forth from Flames Unscathed. This is a solid album. Ranked really high on my death metal albums of 2015, and I think this is just a step back to what NILE should be after a couple of decent albums, but they kind of, even people have said they kind of just fell to a mediocre shell of what they once were. I don't think that's really necessarily the case. I've always thought that NILE has been ahead of the game when it comes to creative songwriting and everything. But What Should Not Be Unearthed just kind of calls out to those who enjoy the newer style of NILE, but also the intense songwriting of past or older or even classic NILE. So number 4 is What Should Not Be Unearthed. And let's continue on to number 3. Okay, number 3 is Phallic. This album came out in 2007, and this one has a special place in my heart. I have listened to this countless times, and if I did count, I'm pretty sure it would be well within about 500, 600 times. I absolutely adore this album. I love the writing. This is right after Annihilation of the Wicked, so they still had a very creative, unique sensibility when it came to writing. I really think the Phallic is a step towards, yes, their new, kind of slower, more darker sense of writing, but they still have these songs like what is playing right now, As He Creates, So He Destroys, where it's just mind-bashing, incredibly fast, and, just skull-crushing shit. What Can Be Safely Written is on here. Phallic, Papyrus, containing the spell to preserve its possessor against attacks from he who is in the water. I love that song. I've heard of that one live. Then they have Eat Off the Dirt. I love that song. Laying Fire Upon a Pep, The Essential Salts, The Infinity of Stone, Language of the Shadows, Even the Gods Must Die. I mean, I love every single song on this album. I really think this is top-notch stuff. I also think it's one of their more underrated albums, and that's why it earns the number 3 spot on this list. Number 2 is In Their Darkened Shrines. This album is essential NILE. Very, very close to number 1. I think this is probably, if you're going to start off listening to NILE, if anybody was to say, hey, I've never listened to NILE before, which album should I, which one should I start at? Fucking start at In Their Darkened Shrines. You have this song that's playing right now, Execration Text, one of their more quicker, shorter songs. I think it's awesome. The music video for this song is amazing, and it's some of the most incredible guitar playing I've ever heard. This was put out in 2002 on Relapse Records. Features old bass player, and I can't remember his name right now. Big, solid dude, very good on bass. One of the main vocalists on here too, where Dallas isn't really on the forefront on this one. It's kind of a mix of all three guys when they did a lot of great back and forth with vocal remedies on the verses, and the songwriting was just insane. This is a must listen. This is a must own for any death metal fan. And of course, if you are a NILE fan, this is a no-brainer. Songs like The Blessed Dead, this song right here, Execration Text, Sarcophagus, which is a nice slow song, Keftiu Asar Buchiu, sorry. The epic 12-minute song, Unos, Slayer of the Gods, Churning the Maelstrom, I Whisper in the Ear of the Dead, The Wind of Horus. And then they have the 4-song combination epic that is called In Their Darkened Shrines, with Hall of Sauron Entombment, Invocation to Seditious Heresy, Destruction of the Temple of the Enemies of Ra, and then the finale, Ruins, which is a nice, slow instrumental. I mean, this album is just insane. There's a couple of in-between tracks that kind of build up for the next song, and then it ends with Ruins, which is a song I can play on guitar because it's really simple and slow, but it's very, very good. This is essential. You need to listen to this. It's fucking awesome. In Their Darkened Shrines is number 2. Okay. With those opening chords, you should know that number 1 is Annihilation of the Wicked. This album is the one that got me hooked. This is the songwriting that had me fucking like, yes, this is awesome. 2005, Relapse Records. It's just funny because how I heard this band, I was in the search for the fastest drummer, the most beats per minute on double bass. And so I found, just looking online, of course, metal websites weren't really a big thing back there. I don't even remember how I found it. It might have been Blabbermouth. I don't know who or how I found this, but it was saying how George Callias was just doing insane speeds on this. And it presented me with this song, Sacrifice Unto Sebek, which was, I think at the time, the fastest double bass recorded. I could be wrong, could be mistaken. But then, so I listened to this song, and I was like, wow, not only is the drumming just insane, but I love both styles of vocals. I think the songwriting is fucking intense. And you know what? I really enjoyed this Egyptian mythology that they are working with here. So I kind of just dove into it, went out and bought this immediately. And very surprised to hear what I heard. Dusk Falls Upon the Temple of the Serpent on the Mount of Sunrise kicks on, and it's very different compared to anything I heard of at the time, 10, 11 years ago. And it's like, my friend heard it, he was like, what the hell are you listening to? It sounds like some Middle Eastern like garbage. And I was like, no. This is NILE. This is the intro song, just calm the fuck down. And then Cast Down the Heretic comes on, and to be honest, it is one of the more insane death metal tracks you could probably hear. I actually saw that song live 2 weeks ago in January 2016 when they came to Lawrence, Kansas. Not only is that one of my favorite songs, but I mean, it's just, it is a glorious, majestic, brutal song. And then you have about 2.5 minutes of solos in the middle of it, and it's just insane. And then you have Sacrifice Unto Sebek, User Mat Re, The Burning Pits of Duat, Lashed to the Slave Stick, which is a fan favorite, one of their more popular songs. And then I want to just kind of talk about their final 2 songs on here, Annihilation of the Wicked, and the last one I'm probably going to mispronounce, Von Ashbrek Leichen Colton. They're both 2 epic songs, an incredible way to you know, finalize an album, to end an album, and that earns the number 1 spot. Annihilation of the Wicked is the best NILE album. Get it now. Fucking listen to NILE, they are amazing. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week for another top list. Don't know if I'm going to do top 5 of something or top 10 of something. We'll find out. So stay tuned for next week. Alright, bye-bye.